Okay guys, welcome back to helpyourmath.com. Today we're going to continue on with multiplication of square roots, but we're going to take it up a notch. We're going to do addition and subtraction with it. So for our first example, we're going to have 6 times radical 5 times radical 5 plus 2 radical 2. So first, we have to see if we can simplify anything within the parentheses. So as you can see, none of the expressions here have a common radical between them. This is radical 5, this is radical 2, so we can't add them together. So next we're going to distribute 6 radical 5 to each term. So we're going to multiply 6 times radical 5 times radical 5 plus 6 times radical 5 times 2 radical 2. So now here we're going to have 6 times 5, because as you remember, a radical times its radical is just the number. So this would be 6 times 5, which would just give us 30. Then for this, we're going to have multiplying the coefficients, and then we're going to multiply the radicals. So this would just be 6 times 2 times 5 times 2. Again, only multiply like terms. So this would be 12 radical 10. Since we can't simplify radical 10 anymore, we'll leave it under the square root sign. Now we look between these two terms. If we can add them, we can't, because this has a radical 10 and this does not. So this would be our final answer. Now, if we go on to example number 2, now we're going to have radical 3 times radical 18 plus radical 8. Now we're going to simplify anything in the parentheses. So let's simplify radical 18 and radical 8. So we're going to have radical 3 times 3 radical 2 plus 2 radical 2. As you can see, these two expressions has a common radical between the two of them. They both have radical 2, so you can add their coefficients together. So you're going to have radical 3 times 5 radical 2. And now finally, we're going to times radical 3 by 5 radical 2. You can't times 5 by the 3, but you can times radical 3 by 2, because they're both under the square root sign. So this would just leave us at 5 times 3 times 2 under the square root sign, which would give us a final answer of 5 radical 6. Now, for our example number 3, we're going to take it up even a much higher notch. We're going to have negative 2 radical 7 times radical 7 plus radical 2 minus radical 8. Again, same concept. Simplify anything that can be simplified in this parentheses. So we're going to simplify radical 8, because that can be simplified. We can't simplify this, and we can't simplify that. So we're going to simplify radical 8. So we're going to have radical 7 plus radical 2 minus 2 radical 2. Again, combine like terms. These two expressions has radical 2 in it, so we can combine them or minus them. So let's rewrite this as 2 times radical 7 times radical 7 minus radical 2. This has an imaginary 1 in front of it, so we can take it as 1 minus 2. Now we're going to distribute negative 2 radical 7 to both terms. So again, we're going to go multiply these two together. So we're going to have negative 2 times radical 7 times radical 7 minus negative 2 times radical 7 times radical 2. Now, again, negative 2 times radical 7, we know it's just going to be 7. It's going to be negative 2 times 7. This is 1. Now on this side, we're going to have negative 2 times 7 times 2. We can't times negative 2 times 2 because it is outside the radical. So now, finally, over here, we are going to have, continuing over here, we're going to have, this would be negative 14 minus, let's keep the minus and keep our parentheses because we are dealing with a negative. We don't want to mix them up, so let's keep our parentheses and put negative 2 the square root of 14. And since we know we can, when you have a negative times a negative, because this is an imaginary 1 right here, this would just simplify to 14, negative 14 plus 2 the square root of 14. And since this expression does not have square root of 14 there, we'll leave it as it is. And this would be our final answer.